Tell me about those cat holes.
Well, back in the 40s, we lived in Boaz during the war in town.
Is that Boaz, Alabama?
Yeah, in Boaz,
Okay.
Alabama, and when my daddy was a veteran of World War One, and we left Boaz right after the war and bought a little old farm out in the country.
All righty, ma'am.
The old farmhouse was, it was just a shack with wooden shake shingles on the top, and when Daddy traded houses, he traded for the man's chickens, cats, and everything else.
So,
and left our cats and stuff at the other place.
So all the animals that were there were there.
Were there. And there was an old gray cat with sort of yellow spots on her. We called her Puss, of course. And she had,
Got no crank
she'd have
phone,
kittens
ma'am.
just one in the middle right after the other.
Ma'am?
And
Which
she'd-
one?
we had, of course, the back door had the corner of the door sawed out at the bottom where it was called a cat hole. They could go in and out
Okay.
at will,
Yeah.
And,
Couldn't other animals get in there too?
No.
Oh.
They wouldn't, well, they never did.
Oh, okay.
Anything but maybe rats.
Oh.
But she would eliminate the rats and everything, but
Yeah.
she'd catch stuff out in the woods and bring them in the house.
Mm-mm.
I know I was 7 or 8 years old, and we'd hear something. We didn't have any electricity, just
Yeah.
oil lamps. It wasn't even a power pole on our property. And
You what?
we'd hear something like bumping at night, and
Yeah.
I
Daddy
can
would
see
get
where
up.
you lose weight.
Daddy'd get up and light the lamp and see what it was. Sometimes be a snake that she'd brought in,
Oh.
or a squirrel.
Yeah.
And one night he got up and she had about a 3/4 grown rabbit that was still alive, and it was bumping and pumping, trying to get.
Yeah.
And Daddy took it away from her and skinned it. We had that for breakfast.
There, I was about to say squirrel, gravy, and biscuit.
Yeah, rabbit,
I mean
wild rabbit.
Yeah.
And but everybody had cat holes in the country. Had a cat hole sawed in the door.
Wow.
I've got a picture of one in my pictures on my phone. I can show you later.
You see little pictures of mouse holes in walls, but I never heard of a cat hole before.
Anyway, another cat hole story. I had a uncle and aunt named Uncle Lee and Aunt Sophie.
Uh-huh.
And back then, Daddy had a bunch of brothers and sisters, and they'd just switch around going to Sunday dinners at each other's house.
Oh, yeah. Ooh,
And
that sounds
my
good.
mom and Aunt Sophie, they had wrung about 4 friars' necks and had a big platter of chicken on the table. We hadn't started eating yet. And there was a big gray striped tomcat come through the cat hole in the kitchen door, got right on the table with that platter of chicken, and got him a drumstick on the top of that chicken.
Oh.
And he made a circle after he went off that table and headed back. My Aunt Sophie put her foot at that cat hole.
Yep.
Got that drumstick off that away from that chicken, away from that cat, and laid it right back on the platter of chicken.
Like, you ain't having that.
Yeah, that's right. And,
Wow.
But I didn't worry about eating it because the kids never got a good piece of chicken anyway.
Yeah,
We got
right.
a wing or a gizzard
Yep.
or a neck.
Yep.
You got the neck. The grown folks eat the good
The
pieces.
good stuff.
Yeah, they got
Yeah.
the pulley bone and the thighs and the drumsticks and stuff.
Well, let me ask you a question, changing the subject a little bit. Tell me about, I live here we live in this old house here. We only heat with the wood. Got a wood stove and a fireplace. Tell me about back then in the wintertime and the houses you grew up in.
Well, we had a fireplace in our old house, and then we built a new one right by it in 49.
Okay.
And we had a fireplace and a wood cook stove.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
we always sawed wood and for the stove and chopped it up. And the big old cooking range would sit like that trunk there.
Yeah.
If you turned it around.
Long ways.
Yeah, no, a long way,
No?
but with a triangle, so you'd have a way behind.
Oh, I get it.
You know,
Yeah. space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I one morning before I went to school, it was real cold, and I got behind that wood stove, keep warm. All I had on was my underwear, backed up against that red hot stove pipe, and you told me I had a blister
I bet.
big as a bucket lid on my back. And
Wow.
and then Mondays was always wash day.
Yep.
And Mother, I dragged wood. We live on, like I said, a little farm, about 30-acre farm, and we had woods around between fields and stuff, and it'd be my job to go drag up limbs and stuff to put on the wash pot
Yeah.
to heat the water to wash her clothes.
Yeah. Did she make her own soap or did she buy her soap?
We made it in the wash pot. We
Yeah.
made hominy in the wash pot.
I was going to ask about hominy.
We
That
made
was another thing.
Hominy in the wash pot, and we made our own lye for the hominy with ashes.
Now, how? I got one question on the lye in the hominy. How did lye keep from hurting you when you ate the hominy?
Well,
Sir, we got
you just keep
stuff
washing
and
it,
knives
washing
up
it.
here.
The lye ate the husk off of the corn. That's what the outer shell, the husk of the kernels of corn.
Yeah.
That's what the purpose of the lye was, to eat that off.
Just to eat that
That's the
off,
only
and
way
then you
you
kept
get it.
washing it.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
you wash it. It's never enough to hurt you. I ate a ton of it.
Wow.
But and then
All right,
then we'd make
Monday before I
make
get up.
lye, in the wash pot.
All right,
I mean soap. And then use our lye to make soap.
Did you use fat off a pig or something to make the soap?
Lye, yeah. We had to have scrap, meat and the grease from your lard. And,
Tell me about give me a little short story about squirrel hunting or something like that.
Well, I did as far as the squirrel business this morning.
Yeah.
Before I came down here, I hadn't seen it. I got huge oak trees around the back of my house.
Yeah.
I mean, they're huge. And 2 or 3 years ago, there'd be squirrels out nesting and raising. But I've got a squirrel dog named Arlo, and this morning he was treed out there looking up in one of those trees, and I seen the first squirrel that I'd seen in 2 years.
Really?
And come back to that tree.
Wonder why there hadn't been
I
any.
don't know.
We got
The
stuff
dogs,
up
I
here
guess,
too, ma'am.
He gets after anything.
Okay.
I got a video of him. He had a groundhog on the porch. In fact, I brought it down here
I remember
last
that.
year. Yeah, he
Last
caught that
year,
on
yeah.
my front porch.
That's right.
And I got a video of him doing that thing.
Ruby.
But,
Yes, ma'am.
squirrel
I
hunting,
got
we
an
would.
anything opinion
When
if
I was
you
a
would
kid,
rather
my
use
dad
it
died
instead
when
of
I was
Okay, yeah. Please.
11 before I turned
I was
12.
writing.
He died in March, and I turned 12 in September.
But
And
I'm done writing.
we
now.
were real hard pressed for anything because Dad had been married before. Dad hadn't got a divorce, and Mother never got his pension straightened out. But we would do anything,
Pinch me out a
squirrel
little
hunt,
bit.
pick berries, do anything, to have something to eat before she got that. And she got her back pay about right before Christmas, and we had a good Christmas.
That's
She
nice.
bought me a bicycle, first one I ever owned.
Wow.
I thought we were rich, and she would when Dad was living, I got two cold drinks a year.
Too cold, like a bottled Coke or something. Yeah. 2 drinks a year.
4th of July. On the 4th of July, there'd be a
Anything on the trailer's a dollar.
double-headed baseball game
Yeah.
up at Whitesboro School up in the mountain here.
Yeah.
And when the first game was over, Dad'd take me down to the little old country store, Ollie Sampson's store, and he'd buy a Coca-Cola, and I'd get a RC because they were bigger.
Oh yeah, they were bigger. I
then,
remember that.
And then in the fall, when we sold our first bale of cotton, I'd get to go to the gin with him, and I'd get a cold drink in. I got 2 a year.
Nice.
And it was, money was scarce.
Yeah, that was the Depression, right?
Yeah.
Still in the Depression then?
Our cow was dry. Talking about how scarce money was. Our cow was dry. And back then, there'd be one person in the whole community that had a bull.
Uh-huh.
and to service everybody's
Yeah,
cow, you know.
exactly.
So you had to lead them. Daddy had a little 36 Ford pickup truck, and I'd sit on the tailgate and lead that cow, and he'd drive real slow, and would take her to meet get to the bull.
To get to meet
and
the
drive
guy,
back
yeah.
And, but anyway, our cow was dry. Excuse me.
Oh no, go ahead.
$10.
And we had some friends, neighbors that lived across our field. Their field joined ours,
Mm-hmm.
and they had milk to sell.
Mm-hmm.
I think sweet milk was a quarter a gallon, and buttermilk was a dime.
Mm-hmm.
So
You don't go to Lowe's with $10.
I had, of course, 35 cents. I was going to go. They'd sent me to get a gallon of sweet milk,
I
Yeah.
would get up and come do you, but I can't.
a gallon of buttermilk. It was all I could do to carry it. Being
Yeah, I bet.
9 years old.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But anyway, there's a little old swag-like place in the woods that's out damp.
Mm-hmm.
And I was walking along that trail to go get that milk at her neighbor's, and something caught my eye, and I looked, there's a big cow track there, and there's a dime in it.
A dime.
Somebody had lost a dime that's in that cow track. I immediately set them jugs down on the side of the trail and ran all the way back home with that dime. I showed Daddy in there
Yeah.
that I'd found some money.
Thank you, sir.
And then what happened?
He said, you go to Mr. Jacobs' house when you get there and you asked him and any of them lost that dime.
Uh-huh.
I figured somebody dropped it. It was leading the cow through there
Yeah.
over Mr. Jacobs' bull, you know. And I got over there and I was just scared to death. So I went back and got the jugs and went on to.
So they were still there. I was afraid you were going to say they were gone or
yeah,
something.
It's a very
Yeah.
remote area. Hardly anybody ever went.
Yeah.
But anyway, they didn't. None of them had lost a dime, so I got to keep it. When I got back home, I got my little sister. She's 3 years younger than me, and she and I went up to the store and bought a sugar daddy and a pack of juicy fruit chewing gum.
Yummy. That's cool. Well, thank you, Mr. Gobel, for talking some more. And
Times was rough back then,
Yeah.
but I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed talking about
well,
it.
I enjoyed talking to you about it, and maybe we can get back to a little more of this afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you.